new close reader called Solving Problems Through Technology. This is Unit 5, and our essential question is, where do the ideas for inventions come from? Where do ideas for inventions come from? And really, most inventions come from a problem and someone trying to solve that problem. So the invention is the solution to a problem that exists for either everybody or certain groups of people. And so that's what an inventor's job is. So we're going to learn today about Anna Connelly, who was an inventor. And so she saw a problem and she figured out a way to solve that problem. So listen and see if you can find out what the problem was and how she solved it.
Shared reads 1 and 2. Remember to annotate as you read.
Anna Connelly, inventor. Over 100 years ago, fire was a danger for people in city apartment buildings. When fire swept through a building, people on the upper floors were trapped. In 1887, Anna Connelly designed a steel staircase. The staircase attached to the outside of buildings. Now, people had a way to get out of burning buildings. Anna's fire escape saved many lives all over the country. Crazy boys.
Okay, so we're going to stop there. So hopefully you were listening closely and you figured out that the problem was that fire was dangerous for people who lived in a city apartment building because they would get stuck and not be able to come down the inside staircases because the fire would be coming up. So they ended up, Anna Connelly figured out a way to solve this problem. So the solution to this problem is that Anna Connelly designed a steel staircase on the outside of the building. Okay, and it saved many lives all over the country and still does today. You've probably seen these steel staircases. Sometimes we call them fire escapes on the sides of big, tall buildings. So if we wanted to summarize this text, because it's nonfiction, we wouldn't do somebody wanted but so then, except for it is kind of a story since it's about her life. But we could think about our W questions. Who, what, when, where, and why. And those questions are going to help us to summarize our passage that we just read. So who is Anna Connelly? What? She designed a steel staircase. When? Either 1887 or over 100 years ago. Either one of those would work. Where? Doesn't tell us specifically, but we do know that she was in a big city, right, with lots of tall buildings. And why? Because fire was a danger. So if I go back and put all of that together, it would sound like, my summary would sound like, Anna Connelly designed a steel staircase in 1887 on city apartment buildings because fire was a danger for people who lived on the upper floors. And that would summarize both of these paragraphs. Notice that there's things that we didn't underline or circle because those weren't quite as important to the summary. Those are just additional details that they give us. Okay, so next we're going to look at Crazy Boys. Crazy Boys is an end rhyme poem. So you will hear the rhythm that it has, and you will hear some rhyming words as well. So listen closely for those, and we're going to annotate those when we finish.
By Beverly McLaughlin. Watching buzzards, flying kites, lazy, crazy boys, the Wrights. They tried to fly, just like a bird. Foolish dreamers, strange, absurd. We scoffed and scorned their dreams of flight, but we were wrong. And they were right.
Okay, so you probably heard the end rhyme there. Let's talk though about what this is about. You need a little bit of background information to really understand what they were talking about. And one of those is that you see this word right with a W. And it says lazy, crazy boys, the Wrights. And then it says, and they were right. And she's spelled this right the wrong way because that was the name of the boys. So she spelled it like their name, even though that should be an R-I-G-H-T, because she says they were right, which they were correct, and they were the Wright brothers. So the Wright brothers invented the first flying machine that eventually then led to advancements to become the airplane. And so it says, watching buzzards, flying kites, lazy, crazy boys, the Wrights. So our rhyming words here are kites and Wrights. Will you circle those in your close reader, please? They tried to fly just like a bird. Foolish dreamers, strange, absurd, and bird. Notice that these aren't spelled the same way. Often in a rhyme like pan and man, they both end in the same rhyme, A-N-A-N. In this case, we have bird and absurd. Now, I-R, U-R, and E-R all make similar or sometimes the same sounds. And so that's why they do rhyme even though they have different letters there. So we scoffed and scorned their dreams of flight, but we were wrong and they were right. So flight and right. Notice that IGH that makes one long I sound with the T on the end, and it also makes it a long I sound. Okay, so I'd like for you to practice reading through this poem a few times. Try to have a nice rhythm. And then I need you to go in and answer a few comprehension questions about crazy boys.